Hello and welcome to Experience Share. It's a Pokemon podcast wherein I, Chikorita, aka Tanner Greenring, and my co-host Makosh, Chosh, yes,
yeah,
aka Joshua Fjellstad, play through the Pokemon games. We are in an interstitial this week between the beginning half of Gen 3 and the latter half of Gen 3. We just beat Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and now we are playing through another game with an incomprehensible title.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Red
Team.
Rescue Team. Yes.
Or Blue Rescue Team if you're playing on the DS. We're playing on the Game Boy Advance.
We're playing on the Game Boy Advance. We're both playing Red. Bug catchers, thank you for joining us. We are going to be playing this for the next 3 or 4 episodes. 4 episodes, I think.
We could stomach it.
If we can stomach it. Josh and I played through the first 4 dungeons this week, because this is how this game works. You dive into dungeons.
Yeah, it's a dungeon crawler.
It sucked. Should we just get it out at the top of the
I mean, I think we had to just get it over with. This game blows.
This game sucks.
Listen, maybe it'll change. We just started. Obviously, we love the series. We love the world of Pokemon, but they can't all be winners. They can't all be winners.
There is some cute things about this game, but for the most part, the story's weird. The plot,
if you can even call it that.
The conceit is weird. And the gameplay is
it's a disaster.
Just awful grind. It's like fucking what's it called? Dark Souls. It's like Dark Souls of the Pokemon universe.
I was thinking of Spelunky also. Did you go through that phase?
No.
It's a roguelike, which means that it's a subgenre of RPGs, and it's a dungeon crawler where you're just constantly going into dungeons, and they're procedurally generated, so they're never the same. And it's like turn-based. This one's only lightly turn-based, which also doesn't help. And then it's like, tile movement, which is like most other Pokemon games. And if you die, you die. You die for real.
Yeah.
And you lose everything until your last save. And if you didn't save, then you're fucked.
And this game has a very frustrating thing I discovered so when you beat a dungeon or go into a dungeon and accomplish a goal, you finish and you end up back in the overworld and you're at your house and you go to bed for the night. And every time you go to bed, it asks, would you like to save your progress so far? And it defaults to no.
Oh, yeah, I hate all the defaults to no.
So you're just slamming A because the dialogue in this game is so bad.
Because the whole gameplay, by the way, is slamming A, basically.
So, and then you get to that and you hit no, and you're just like, well, now I have to fucking beat another fucking dungeon to get to the next save point.
Well, you could go back to the bed and manually save. You know that, right?
No, can you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's not that brutal, but it is brutal anyway. It's like a roguelike for dummies.
To add insult to injury, my cartridge is fucking glitched.
Oh, yeah, the classic problem.
It just keeps glitching out. Every now and then the screen will just scramble.
So you lost progress as a result of that also?
Yeah, several times.
This was rough. This was one of the roughest weeks maybe the roughest week I've ever had in Pokemon.
Yeah, it was tough. I was excited about this game. I was excited to dig into a new format of gameplay. But as soon as I got into this, I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I guess we can start at the beginning, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are a man.
Or a woman. In this case, we're a man.
The two of us are men, Josh. And we wake up and we are not men. We are Pokemon.
Yeah. Just mysteriously.
Is there a reason why?
I don't know.
None given so far. Gardevoir is involved somehow.
Yeah, Gardevoir shows up in a dream sequence. I can't remember if it says anything. You'll occasionally get basically a voice from the void.
Yeah.
And it will say something.
You were a man, now you're a Pokemon, and the very first thing it does is makes you take a BuzzFeed quiz.
Yeah. What Pokemon are you?
Which Pokemon are you? And they ask you a bunch of very weird questions.
Oh, I took a photo of some of them, actually.
There are so many questions that you don't see them all. It asks you 5 questions, but I think there are 30 questions total. So you get a completely random...
Oh, they're random?
Yeah, you get a completely random set of questions. And they each have multiple choices.
Can I read you one of the ones that I got?
Yes.
There is a person you like. but there's no opportunity to get close. I'm winking.
Okay.
What do you do? And here are the options. Bravely declare my love. Might say hello. Pull a prank to get attention. Or look from afar.
Pull a prank to get attention.
Wow. I bravely declared my love.
Wow. And that's why you got the Pokemon you got. So yeah, you go through this weird, like...
It's very obtrusive.
It's so weird. And it's just like, the questions are like nonsense. One of the questions is, have you ever made a pitfall trap?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no! Like, who do you think I am?
Like, I'm an adult man. I have a family and a job. When do I have the time to make pitfall traps?
And even when I was a kid, like, I'm not digging like an 8-foot hole with like punji sticks at the bottom or whatever.
Who am I trying to trap?
Tipped with feces so that like you get infected if you fall down, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it, that's what you do.
What do you mean? Here's one. Josh, I want you to do this right now.
Okay.
Without thinking, just do it. Grab any finger on your left hand. Which one did you grab?
Well,
Middle finger.
yeah, of course.
You're jolly.
I think that's right.
What a weird set of questions.
This one is truly a BuzzFeed quiz. Here's another one. It's the summer holidays. Where would you like to go? The beach. Spas. Anywhere.
I can say this. I don't like going to the beach.
No, I don't either. I didn't choose the beach.
I don't really like going to spas either, especially not in this climate, you know?
No, I chose spas just because it's not really my thing either. But I will not be going to the beach. And anywhere is like, that's a trap.
Yeah.
Like, what's anywhere mean? Spa, I understand the construct. Anywhere is, no. It could be a pitfall trap.
Our friend Jim, whom you know,
I'm familiar.
and play D&D with,
Dungeons and Dragons.
will often send me a message on like a Wednesday afternoon and say, Spa Castle this Friday, take off work.
Often?
Yeah, I would say often. I would say once every 6 months.
Until the pandemic, that was still happening?
Until the pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever been to Spa Castle?
I have, one time.
Yeah.
And then it got shut down.
Oh, the one in Manhattan?
No, the Queens one.
The Queens one. It's still open.
Yeah, they had an incident a few weeks after we were there.
They had an incident where someone drowned.
Yeah, I think it was a drowning.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Spa Castle. I think a number of people have drowned there.
Well, it's either drowning or like E. coli or something.
It's a nightmare.
All of the above.
It's a very neat place. It's like a warehouse.
It's a good idea.
So for bug catchers who don't know, it's a place in Queens. It's like huge. It's like a warehouse. And you walk in and you get a little bracelet that you wear and you attach your credit card to it and it's waterproof.
Yeah.
And then you go into a locker room and you change into pajamas, essentially.
Yeah.
And you have to wear them and they're assigned to you, like they're given to you.
There are like nude areas.
Oh, yes. And then off the locker room is a nude room where you can go and do some nude bathing with people of your gender.
Yeah.
And then you go upstairs and you're in like this tropical paradise where there are a number of different saunas of various heat.
Yeah. And they're kind of like themed based on how hot it is.
Yeah. And one of them's cold for some reason.
Yeah, there's like an igloo one.
Yeah. And you can get massages, and then you go upstairs and there's like whirlpools and you can like drink beers, and there's an outdoor area which is kind of like a little bit of a water park. It's the weirdest place in the world, and it's like constantly getting shut down because of E. coli.
Right.
And people keep like catching their hair in the whirlpools and then drowning.
It's high risk, high reward.
It's a nightmare.
I got out of there alive.
And like it's I believe Korean owned.
Yeah.
So there's a restaurant there, but it's all Korean food. So it's like you have this heavy lunch of like spicy kimchi, and then you go hit the saunas and it's like, oh, this sucks.
There's a 3-drink limit. I mean, you could be creative about that, but they're all just like Kool-Aid and like vodka. So
it's also
you
like
just start getting loaded up.
$18 a drink.
Yeah, it's $18 a drink. It's like so sugary that you're getting dehydrated and like fucked up from that.
That's what I think when I saw spa in that list. I was like, well, I certainly do not want to go to Spa Castle, especially right now.
Honestly, I think the first spa I ever went to until my honeymoon, like that's what I thought a spa was.
Yeah, me too.
Until pretty recently.
So you take this weird ass quiz.
And it does end with the iconic, are you a boy or a girl?
So depending on how you answer these questions, the answers have like a certain tag and weight assigned to them. So like if you answer a human hand extends out a toy. Wow, this one's...
Wow, I didn't get that one. What?
This one's so weird. A human hand extends out of a toilet. What would you do?
What the fuck?
If you answer scream and run, you are assigned 2 points to the timid tag. If you answer close the lid without a word, you are assigned 1 point to the hearty tag and 2 points to the calm tag. And if you answer shake hands with it, you were awarded 1 point to naive, 2 points to brave, and 1 point to impish.
Well,
and
here's my question.
Yes.
Well, first of all, those are Pokemon natures, which is clever. My question is, the hand is just coming out and it's like hanging out. It's not like doing anything down there. Like, how are you having the opportunity to shake its hand?
Joshua, you know as much about this as I do.
Okay. I'm picturing that the hand that comes out of the toilet in Majora's Mask.
Yes.
Which I guess was a relatively friendly hand. Maybe that's what it was.
It was kind of spooky.
Yeah, but it's not really like causing a ruckus, which I
That's true.
guess is their model.
Imagine if your butt was on the toilet, though. It would touch your butt.
Well, that is what I pictured. So if I got that, I definitely would have like slammed it and run.
Okay, well, you're timid too. Sorry.
That's fine.
So then each of these types match to a different, like one of like, I don't know, 12 or 15 or something Pokemon that you can...
12, yeah.
Then you're that Pokemon.
That's you.
That's you, and that's you for the game. You were a man, you were human, but now you're Pokemon.
Are we human or are we Mon?
That's good. Are we human or are we...
Pokemon?
There's got to be a better one than this. Are we human or are we Stantler?
That's where I was going to. Yeah. So you're a Pokemon now.
So now you're a Pokemon and you wake up and you're in a Pokemon's body and you don't know how you got there and you just need to live a fucking Pokemon life. And Joshua, I'm dying to know which Pokemon you got. And we will say this. Joshua and I did this honestly and earnestly and did no whammies and
no save scum.
Took the Pokemon that God dealt us.
Yeah.
And who'd you get?
I was happy with mine, though. I got Charmander.
That fits.
I feel like it's basic now, though, but I wasn't going to re-roll a Charmander, you know?
Yeah. When you couldn't re-roll anyway. I mean, we didn't agree upon that. You could have re-rolled if you wanted to.
It would have been May or cheat. I think either of us would have claimed that if the other had done it, but neither of us did it.
When I got my Pokemon, at first I was like, oh, I don't want this.
Yeah.
But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, actually, this is cool.
It's interesting.
I am into it. I feel like it's a good match for me. I'm not quite sure what I answered to get it, but I am Meowth.
I see it. Yeah, Meowth.
And I named my character, Meowth, John Meowth.
Okay.
There was a guy called John Meowth, right?
What was there?
Well, in this fiction, in this headcanon.
Oh, you made up a whole thing. I was like, are you going to be Garfield's owner, John? And he got turned into
Nope.
It's complex.
This is a man. He's a high-powered biz exec. He doesn't pay enough attention to his family and his loved ones. He's just always working. And a genie curses him. Mm-hmm. And his name is John Meowth.
Well, as we know, there are people whose last name is Frog, so presumably in the Pokemon world, people have a Pokemon as their last name.
Yeah.
So John Meowth, yeah.
So this John Meowth gets cursed by a genie who's Gardevoir, and in a twist of fate ends up being a Meowth. That's the headcanon for my character.
Wow, that's pretty layered. That's good.
And that's why he's called John Meowth.
Okay, I like it.
And what's your character called?
My character is Arcanus Charmander.
No, not your D&D character that we play together.
Well,
your Pokémon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team character.
My headcanon for this was that it is the D&D character was cursed and then was turned into a Pokemon and transported to a different dimension. Arcanus is a character I play as in Dungeons and Dragons games.
Arcanus Fairweather is not your current character, though, right?
No, But Arcanus, I think, is the iconic one.
Yeah, I think of my last character as my iconic one, too.
We haven't finished this quest on the new one, so...
Josh and I have been in a long-standing D&D game that used to meet fairly regularly, but hasn't met in several months since the pandemic started, where
Right.
we've had a few different iterations, and we've started fresh a few times. In our previous game, Josh was a human fighter.
No, half-elf fighter.
Half-elf eldritch knight.
Well, I became an Eldritch Knight, yes.
Named Arcanus Fairweather.
Yeah. And his line was, when he does the final blow, I suppose you've met your Fairweather friend.
You had lots of lines.
A lot of lines. And who are you?
I played a Kenku bard named Death Singer.
And I feel like half-elf is relatively straightforward, but you should say what a Kenku is.
Kenku is like a birdman. It's like a little crow man.
Yeah, a little crow.
Yeah.
He was great.
He was cool.
He brought down the house.
Now we play other characters.
Yeah.
Now you're the Birdman.
Yeah, I'm an Aarakocra now, ranger, which is like a kind of a golden eagle.
And I'm the elf.
That's right.
Tew Tattersails. He's a lawful evil elf.
Yeah.
Warlock.
And I'm Galas Wild Wings Ire.
Man, I miss D&D. I wish we could get back to it.
Yeah. So... basically is like, this is like a sideshow where, because I don't play as Arcanus anymore, he got banished at some point on one of his adventures and he ended up in this Pokemon realm.
That's good headcanon. We both have very rich headcanons and rich imaginations, and good for us.
Yeah.
The very first thing you do when you wake up is you meet your companion Pokemon, Josh.
Yeah.
The game insists that you pick a partner.
Yeah.
And when I read that, what I assumed that meant was, coming off of 3 different Pokemon games now.
And neither of us has played Mystery Dungeon.
No.
I don't even know what it was.
I have like social awareness of what Pokemon was before I ever played a Pokemon game. Like I knew what it was. Like I knew the memes, you know? Like I had absolutely zero idea what Mystery Dungeon was.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I didn't know it was this roguelike situation, which is a genre I don't totally love.
So the very first thing it asks you to do is pick a partner Pokemon, and I had just assumed that what it meant was a rival.
Oh, yeah.
Because they always make you name your rival at the beginning of every Pokemon game, except for the most recent one. So I did what I always do and named it Bad Josh. And then I thought about who's a good rival to Meowth. And I thought about the anime, and I thought, okay, well, Team Rocket has Meowth, and Ash and Misty and Brock have Pikachu.
Oh, my Pikachu? Ah, yes.
So I chose Pikachu to be Bad Josh.
That's very acceptable.
And imagine my surprise when Bad Josh the Pikachu ended up being my best friend and partner. And he accompanies me on every quest, and he like lives with me, and we're like the closest friends that have ever been.
Yeah.
I wish I would have just named him Josh at this point, you know?
That would have been nice. But now you have to make friends with your arch nemesis.
And it kills me.
Which maybe is like good, like builds character.
Kills me. Who did you pick?
I am just going with names and types of characters that I would encounter, you know, in a Dungeons and Dragons world. I ran into Silverkin,
Okay.
who is a Trico.
Ooh.
It felt pretty good.
Silverkin.
It's going to be, hopefully, a Sceptile at some point, and like Silverkin the Sceptile seems cool.
Yeah, do they evolve?
Yeah, it's a starter, man. All of the 12 that you could choose were starters or like part of the anime or whatever universe at the time.
Except like my Meowth only evolves once. Your fucking Charmander and Trico, both my Meowth and Pikachu only evolve once.
And good luck with like getting a Thunderstone in this fucking situation.
Ugh, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm still happy with my decision. It's like they're both weird picks, but I like them.
I think it's a fun combo. I like the anime tie-in.
Classics.
And mine are like opposites. I think it specifically doesn't let you choose a Pokemon that is the same type as your starter. And Trico actually, I think, is better than Charmander so far.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Pikachu is way better than Meowth so far, too. I also feel like the Pikachu is like 4 levels higher than my Meowth.
Oh, my Trico is more powerful, yeah.
So, it's so complicated, this game, bug catchers. But, like, it's boring, right? You just mash A.
Yeah.
Or, like, choose moves from a menu.
It has normal Pokemon moves. Like, all the moves are canon moves from the main games. But when you're in a dungeon, you're moving tile by tile, and the other Pokemon in it also move tile by tile, and then there will be items strewn about. And you just fucking mash A. And like you can open the menu and then choose a specific move, and if you do that, so as Charmander, if I choose like use Ember now, it gives you more EXP, so there's an incentive to do it, but it's like pretty weak.
Well, it's like it's more EXP, and oftentimes the moves are more powerful than your jamming A.
You might get like a one-hit KO.
The mechanics are like every time you move, the enemies move, and every time you do a hit, the enemies do a hit.
Yeah.
So it's like I would do a thing where I maneuver around in such a way that I am not facing the Pokemon we're fighting, and I'm making Pikachu face the Pokemon we're fighting.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I would go face the Pokemon and then shift back, and Pikachu would take my place, and then Pikachu would have to sit and fight it, and I would just swipe at blank air.
Yeah, same.
And let Pikachu, like, do its fucking thunder shocks on everyone and kill them. And it's like, fine.
I did that with Trico, too.
This is...
Because it had Absorb.
This is way better.
You can have up to 4 Pokemon in your rescue team, and the other ones are effectively NPCs. Like, you can make one of them the team leader. I haven't done that, but... You can't control what they do. You can prioritize the moves that they will use, and every Pokemon can still have up to 4.
And you can, like, set their, like, programming.
Right.
It's called Team IQ.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can set the programming to be like, your job is to go find items and like, grab items. Or your job is to fight. Or your job is to, like, defend me. You know, like, it's like standard RPG shit.
Yeah, totally. I messed around with that, and which will come into play later. And I lost Mon because they go extreme. If you set one of them on, like, offense, it will just run away, basically. There's a setting that you could just cluster them, which I've now defaulted to. But they could just run off and start picking fights and then just fucking die off screen.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. And, like, you can catch new Pokemon or you can recruit new Pokemon, but they have to survive the dungeon in order to, like, get recruited to your team.
Oh, my God, don't even get me started on this.
And like if you have them run off on their own, they won't survive. So yeah, it's weird. It takes a beautiful mind to really play this game well, I think.
And apparently neither of us has a beautiful mind.
No. So let's talk about the game a little bit. So you wake up, you're a Pokemon, you've got a Pokemon best friend, and the thing that you two do together is rescue missions.
Yeah.
Don't know why it's a mystery dungeon. I get here's the words in the title that I understand. Pokemon, yes. Mystery, no. Dungeon, yes. Rescue, yes. Team, yes. Red, whatever. Sure. Why? I don't get why it's a mystery. Can we just call it Pokemon Dungeon?
I think it's because the dungeons are never the same, so it's a mystery when you go in there.
Okay, because it's what is it called?
Procedurally generated.
Yeah, procedurally generated, the dungeons, which means like what that actually means is they suck. Like they're bad, and sometimes like paths go nowhere and they just peter out, or like they'll loop back on themselves, and it's like I'm burning hunger here, people.
Like if you've played Diablo, I feel like that's
am I made of apples?
Relatively popular game where, you know, in the originals in particular, like 1 and 2, you get the map that's superimposed lightly over the screen.
Yeah.
And you're just guessing, and you go in there and you no fucking idea what's going on, and like you have to bring as many items as Tanner's saying with the apples. Once you're in the dungeon, you can't get out until you complete the mission, you die, or you have an escape orb. So there are like orbs that will do various things. Escape orb is effectively an escape rope.
Yeah.
And it will just haul you out of there.
But if you die, you lose all your items.
Yeah, until your like last save.
Right.
So if you forget to save, fucked.
And your inventory is limited too, is the other thing. So it's like when you're diving deep into these caves, you're picking up all this shit, and like you don't have the inventory space for it. So it's like
you can only have 20 items.
No reason. Yeah. And then like there are these nonsensical symbols everywhere. Like every now and then you'll just have a blinking yellow arrow over your head. And I was like, what does this fucking mean? And eventually I had to go look it up, and it's like, oh, it's a status change, a negative status change. So if a Pokemon has like done growl on you and your defense is lowered, like that's what the yellow arrow means.
Yeah.
And then as you're walking through the dungeons, there are these tiles with green arrows on them.
Yeah, an up arrow.
Which for the longest time I assumed meant up a level.
Me too.
And I was like avoiding them because I didn't want to go back up a level. But what it means is like it will clear your status.
Yeah, wonder tiles.
And return you to normal status. It's just like...
They don't explain any of this!
They don't explain any of it, and it's like, what does that mean, and why is it like so non-diegetic, and like, who made this game, and why are they so bad at storytelling?
It was very surprising to me that this is a Pokemon Company Nintendo joint. Like, this is a sanctioned game.
Yeah, except there's a third
Oh, that's right.
production company on that, and that's Chunsoft.
More like Chumpsoft.
Yeah, right.
Call out posts for Chunsoft.
If you like this game, and
listen, we're early on.
If you like this game, that's fine, and we want you to have fun with it, and we're glad you're having fun with it.
We're not here to yuck yums.
But
it's brutal. Last night, and we'll get into where this moment happened, but last night, when I was playing this game until fucking midnight, trying to get to where we thought we were trying to get, I was slamming my Game Boy. Like, I can't remember the last time I was this furious with a game.
Okay. I have something to tell you.
Okay.
The name Chunsoft sounded familiar, so I looked it up.
Chunsoft.
Chunsoft is the developer behind...
It's going to be something good.
One of my favorite game series of all time.
Uh-oh.
In America, it's called Dragon Quest.
Oh, you do love Dragon Quest. You tried to get me into that, and I just never bit.
Oh, no, sorry. In America, it's called Dragon Warrior. In Japan, it's called Dragon Quest.
Oh, okay. I don't know Dragon Warrior.
You do. You definitely do. It's an RPG that it's like the guy who animated Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Some of the recent games are like Dragon Quest Heroes and Dragon Quest Builders, which is kind of like a Minecraft kind of thing. Like,
well, so it is Dragon Quest.
It is Dragon Quest. Sorry. So in the 80s when they came to America, the Dragon Quest games were renamed Dragon Warrior.
Okay.
But they've since gone back to being called Dragon Quest.
So is this the Dragon Quest that you wanted me to play on Switch?
No.
What's this naming convention?
I don't remember what Dragon Quest game I tried to get you to play on Switch.
Dragon Quest 11?
Oh, I love Dragon Quest 11. Did you play it?
That was it. Oh, but is that not this?
This is the people who made the original Dragon Quest games. I don't know if they've made 11, but like...
Okay, no, they did not.
They made all those old games, which are great.
Oh, it was an Enix... formerly known as Enix, Square Enix also worked on Dragon Warrior. So they took it over.
It's like a classic JRPG.
Wow. It's fucking confusing. Okay.
They're so good. I love the Dragon Quest games. No one else likes them except me.
I mean, based on this experience, I don't.
But listen to this. They also do a couple other games, which I enjoy. There's one called Zero Escape and Danganronpa, which is like these weird, like... visual novel games where you're trying to solve a mystery. Anyway, turns out I do like Chunsoft. I just don't like this game.
Okay.
But listen to this, Joshua.
Wow, all right. Spill the tea.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Red came out in November of 2005.
Okay.
In December of 1995, is that the first one? Yes. A game came out called Mystery Dungeon 2, Shiren the Wanderer.
Oh. So Mystery Dungeon is the franchise.
Mystery Dungeon 2 is a roguelike video game developed and published by Chunsoft. So this is like a genre they invented. They invented the roguelike.
They built it off that old engine, probably.
Yeah, it's a genre. You're diving into dungeons and you're mashing buttons on enemies and that's it.
Okay.
And then Pokemon saw it and they're like, we love this. Can we do it with Pokemon? And they're like, yeah, sure, I guess. And they just did it with Pokemon.
Here's some scraps to build it off of.
Oh, Dragon Quest characters, Mystery Dungeon. They just like, this is what Chunsoft's whole thing is.
So it's like they turn one of those characters into a Pokemon.
Case closed. It turns out that this is just like what they do, Chunsoft. Aside from making one of the best RPG experiences ever made.
And then a bad one. One of the worst ones.
And then some bad ones, too. Yeah. So now we know a little bit more about Chunsoft. Joshua, I would love to dig a little bit deeper into this game with you now.
Where are you going with this?
And by now, I mean after this break.
Yeah.
All right, Joshua. So I don't think we ever said this, but my Pokemon team's name is the Mon Men.
No, we didn't.
The Mon Men, because we were once men and now we're Mon.
So all of yours used to be human?
We all have to learn a lesson before we can go back to our human bodies.
Oh, you went really deep on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you and your boys?
We're the 9-1 Huns. When you're in trouble, you don't dial 911, you dial the 911. You dial 9-1 Huns because you need some fucking sweeties to take care of you.
Okay, I like that. Do you know the kind of colloquial use of Hun?
Yeah, like, could I get you some pancakes, Hun?
Sort of.
You mean the Mongols?
No. It's kind of become a term of art in the MLM community.
Multi-level marketing?
Multi-level marketing. Because people who do love multi-level marketing will often like reach out to you on your Facebook wall and be like, "Hey, hun, I actually think you would look really great in this doTERRA makeup, you know?"
Of course.
So people on the internet, specifically Reddit, have started calling MLM people Huns.
Wow.
So I thought maybe that's what you were doing.
I mean, I guess you would dial a number to get ripped off, but we're saving you.
That's what everyone in the MLM thinks as well.
Well, I didn't know about this MLM connection.
I thought that's what you were doing.
Did you listen to that show, The Dream? That's a good one. The podcast?
I did listen to that one, yeah. It was good.
Good one.
What is that, Gimlet?
No. I don't remember who it was. It was hosted by Jane Marie, and she did host a Gimlet podcast that we made with Tinder called DTR, which is also very good. But The Dream is about MLMs, and it's fun.
Yes.
Well, it's scary.
Yes.
Check it out.
MLMs are bad, and if you are in an MLM and you're a bug catcher,
I might yuck that yum.
get out now.
I don't think it's a yum. That's you need to
Just
get out.
And we're saying this because we love you.
Dial 911 Huns.
Get out now. You will not get the Cadillac or whatever.
No.
So we start the journey by waking up in our Pokemon bodies and making best friends with our new best friend Pokemons, and then we are immediately thrown into a rescue.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the woods. The tiny woods.
Yes, the tiny woods. So everyone in this game is a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And all the Pokemon talk.
We should say they're all just Pokemon and they have little towns and they fucking like talk like a human and they refer to their offspring as children and like...
Which is like their pre-evolutions.
Yeah, their children are their pre-evolutions. So the Butterfree will call a Caterpie its baby.
Yes, in a very like upsetting way.
Disturbing. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. So you get a call from a Butterfree. You don't get a call. Butterfree shows up at your house because you have a house.
You wake up in the woods.
Oh, yes. And the Butterfree says, "My Caterpie fell down a fissure. Can you go and help me get it? My baby Caterpie." Ugh. And you agree because you're an upstanding citizen and you know that you're in some kind of genie's curse and you need to prove your worth. So you go and you dive into the very first titular dungeon of the game, Tiny Woods.
Yeah.
And boy, was it tiny. 3 floors.
Based on this mystery dungeon, I thought this game was going to be a cakewalk.
So the way this game works is it's a procedurally generated map where you walk around like a maze, essentially. And within the maze are a bunch of wandering NPCs, which will approach you and fight you. You do your fights and you do your moves. And when you're done... You keep moving. There's item pickups. There's wonder tiles. And then the whole point is you're trying to find the stairs down to the next level or stairs up to the next level.
Yeah. And there's no tall grass or anything. It's just the Pokemon and the items are just exposed.
Except for longer dungeons, which we found at the end of this, the Pokemon you're battling become more difficult.
And they will be themed to the environment. So like Tiny Woods is a bunch of Wurmples, Caterpies, like...
Yep.
Fucking, you know the drill.
And then eventually you unlock the ability to buy friend areas. So that means that you have access to these like biomes, essentially.
Yeah. While
you're dungeoneering, you will occasionally get the chance when you defeat a Pokemon, it will say, "This Pokemon wants to join your team. Do you want them to join your team?" And you say yes, and then you have to like beat the dungeon. And when you get out, this Pokemon will go to its like friend area biome and you can go and recruit it. Cause like The thing is, you can have a 4-person team, but it's actually measured on points, where small, weak Pokemon are worth 1 point, and big, strong Pokemon are worth up to, like, I think 4 points.
Wait, what? I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, I had to look it up.
Well, it's very hard to look anything up about this game.
I know.
Also, because they had the Switch release recently, which has thrown the SEO totally off kilter.
So, yeah, if you get, like, a big hoss Pokemon, it's worth more points, and it's, like, essentially you and that Pokemon on your team. But if you have a lot of low basic Pokemon, you can have, like, up to 4 because they're worth fewer points.
Okay.
It's very confusing. It's very weird. And, like, the biomes are not described very well. So it's just called, like, Fungus Cave. And it's like, okay, what Pokemon could possibly live in Fungus Cave?
Yeah, one of them is, like, White Plains or something.
Yeah.
It's like, basically any Pokemon could live there.
We're not there yet. But, yeah, you go into Tiny Woods. It's full of Pokemon. You battle them by mashing A or sometimes hitting B and then hitting A. And then, like...
Well, you only have, like, Growl and Scratch at this point, so I just mashed A.
Yeah.
And we can't really even talk about the layout because, like, it's different for both of us, and it's boring.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
So you find the stairs, and you go down, and eventually you go down far enough that you find Caterpie. And you rescue it, and it warps out like Star Trek.
The dialogue box will just say, "You found Caterpie. It gained a magical power," and then it warps out, beam me up. And then it will ask you, you've reached a destination point, do you want to warp out? And in this case, you do. But sometimes you might want to stay.
So then here's the bulk of the story now. Because you warp back out and you find yourself in Pokemon Square. You live in a small house just to the west of Pokemon Square. To the west of your house is all these friend areas that you can go visit your new buds. To the south is like the mission area.
Right.
But then Pokemon Square itself is a little Pokemon city where everyone lives in little houses that look just like them for some reason.
And their little houses are so cute.
There's a few shops in Pokemon Square, including the Kecleon shop where you buy items. Although, like, you pick up a ton of items in the dungeons, so it's like I have yet to find a real need for the Kecleon shop.
The shop functions in the same way it will randomly have shit that you can access.
And there's 2 Kecleons.
And then one of them will have TMs and orbs.
Yeah.
Well, should we talk about what your favorite item was?
Okay, sure.
Our segment. We have a temporary segment.
A new temporary segment for this interstitial called
Item Finder.
Item Finder.
Because there's a lot of weird items in this, and a lot of them are not in the main games.
It's mostly fruits and berries.
And seeds.
Yeah.
The one that I liked was the Blast Seed.
Okay.
There was an innumerable number, for some reason, of items that you just hurl at Pokemon.
Yeah.
And Blast Seed is the only one that I actually found useful. There's like gravel rocks, which is redundant.
I picked up maybe 1,000 gravel rocks.
I hate those fucking things.
So the point of gravel rocks is you can attack from afar.
Like Safari Zone where you just hurl a rock.
You can, like, kite, I think is what they call it in RPGs. Like, you can, like, pull a Pokemon to you from a distance.
Okay.
If there's, like, 2 Pokemon near one another and you want to pull one away without engaging the other, you would throw a gravel rock at it.
Okay.
It's pointless.
Yeah, I don't use those.
Yeah.
I like the Blast Seed. It's straightforward. You have to have a clear line. So if one of your ally Pokemon is in front of you, it will get hit. But the Blast Seed, you just hurl it, I think, like 3 squares, and it does like 20 or 30 damage, and it explodes area of effect. Straight up, it was like one of the few things that I just fucking understood.
Did you eat one?
No. What happens if you eat it?
You do, like, a fire breath in the tiles in front of you.
Oh, and you can use it? Oh, that's cool.
If your Pokemon eats one, it does, like, a blast of fire in the tiles, right? Like, I think maybe the 3 tiles right in front of it.
Yeah, most of the items can be consumed by yourself, and they will have some different effect. Because you have to, as Tanner mentioned earlier, there are apples. Annoyingly, you have to pay attention to, like, your hunger levels on top of it.
Yeah.
So some of them, like apples, are specifically made to maintain the level of your belly being full.
Yeah.
And others will be like, it's a Pekka berry. And if you eat it, then, like, you are cured of poison, but then also part of your hunger is restored.
Which actually brings me to my favorite item, After one of the dungeons, you are awarded with the P.E.K.K.A. Scarf, which is a scarf made of P.E.K.K.A. berries, I think.
Yeah.
And what it does is it wards off poisoning. So P.E.K.K.A. berries, when you eat one, it cures poisoning. Poisoning in this game is so fucking annoying.
God, it's so overpowered.
Especially if you don't have any P.E.K.K.A. berries, which, like, sometimes you often won't because, like, also, items don't stack in your inventory.
No, it's insane.
You only have 20 slots, and, like, if you need to bring 4 P.E.K.K.A. berries because you're going to face off against a million shroomishes, like, you get through them quickly, and then you are just, like, and then once you're poisoned, you're just fucking poisoned, and you lose 4 hit points every, like, 3 steps, and it doesn't go away. And also, like, when you're walking, your hit points recover, but not very quickly, and, like, not quickly enough to overcome the poisoning. So it's like the P.E.K.K.A. Scarf was a godsend because it was like, okay, I'm just immune to poisoning now. Great.
Yeah, and each Pokemon can hold an item like in the main games, and P.E.K.K.A. Scarf is... I'll skip ahead a little bit. When my game took a turn was because I got killed in a dungeon, a later dungeon, and I was on an escort mission, which is where, like, you'll get random quests, and you can, like, go to the dungeon, and then you take a Pokemon to their friend or some shit.
You can, like, revisit old dungeons to do, like, basic quests.
Yeah. And I had to take, like, a Tyrogue to level 6 in Mount Steel, which we'll get to, and it got killed.
Yeah.
And I was wearing the P.E.K.K.A. Scarf, and then I, like, selected fucking wait for rescue. Because I thought, like, oh, maybe another Pokemon will rescue me, because there's all these rescue teams running around. And then you go to the main menu, and then it's like waiting for a friend to rescue you, which obviously I can't fucking do. It quick saves, so I lost that fucking P.E.K.K.A. Scarf. It was the best item I had!
It doesn't explain any of this shit either.
And I lost all my other shit also, and now I'm broke.
Every time you lose or every time you do that shit, it also erases all your items. So it's like, if you load up with a bunch of items to go into a dungeon and die, you just lose all the fucking items.
God.
It sucks. This game sucks. Anyway, Pokemon Square, there's a few other shops. There's Felicity Bank, which is where Persian lives.
I love the Persian.
And Persian collects your money, and she guards it jealously.
Yeah, this is the only way to save money. So even if you die, as long as you've saved and you put it in the bank, you don't lose it. So I did have a lot of money.
Okay.
I had like $4,000. Pokies, they're called. And the Persian, when she takes your money, goes, I will guard it jealously. And I love that.
I do like this Persian. I do like these NPCs a lot in Pokemon Square.
The NPCs are great.
Right next door to Persian, to Felicity Bank, is Wigglytuff's friend area shop.
Yeah.
So this is where you buy friend areas, which are just these biomes. And the whole point is, like, you need to buy the biomes. As far as I can tell, it's the only thing worth spending money on.
The links are worth it.
The links?
The Gulpin link shop.
Oh, yeah. Links are pretty cool, too. But we'll get to that in a second. So, like,
yeah,
you buy these areas, and each area can house a number of different Pokemon. And then while you're diving down in dungeons, you can, like, encounter these Pokemon, and every now and then they'll be like, I want to join you, if you have the appropriate friend area. So you need to buy up all the friend areas in order to have, like, all the accommodations for the different Pokemon you'll encounter.
For, like, recruiting them, yeah.
Yeah, so this is just what I've been doing. I've just been spending all my money on Wigglytuff's friend area shop.
Yeah.
East of that is the main attraction in this game, Pelipper's Post Office.
Wow.
And the bulletin board up front.
Yeah, it's like in an RPG where it just has all the wanted, like, bounties or whatever.
Yep.
I gotta say, this Pelipper Post Office is pretty cool.
It's cool.
It just looks like a Pelipper, and it's got, like, plants growing on it, and the Pelippers, like, come out of the open mouth of it.
Yeah, the mouth is, like, held open with a stick.
The Pelipper sprite's pretty sweet, and I've been having a little bit of a crisis in terms of how cute all the Pelipper are in this.
Yeah, this game does Pelipper right.
Yeah.
It looks fun and festive and fun, and I like it.
Yeah, and the Pelippers are all, like, the postal employees.
Yeah.
You have a mailbox in front of your own little house, and the Pelippers, hopefully every morning, but occasionally not, will deliver new bounties to you.
Yep. Back in the main square, there's a couple other shops. My favorite shop is Kangaskhan Storage.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little house that looks like Kangaskhan, and at the desk in front of it is a Kangaskhan, and this Kangaskhan is so friendly and so lovely.
She's so nice.
She's so affectionate. She calls you like sweetie and like shug.
Yeah, she'll always be like, "Oh yeah, I got. I'll put that wherever you want, sweetie. I got that."
Yeah, she's so nice. I like her so much.
Thanks, sweetie.
And she's one of the only
like I got room for that, honey. Don't worry about it.
She's the most useful NPC in this square because like you gather all this shit in the dungeons and then you can just come and dump it with her, you know, like.
And her item storage will stack.
Yeah, and her item storage will stack. So like,
thank God.
I went at one point and went and looked, and I had like, I think close to 200 gravel rocks.
I did, and I sold them when I was in my darkest hour.
She's great. I love Kangaskhan. And then across the way from Kangaskhan is Gulpin. And Gulpin's still gross. Looks bad.
Yeah, they didn't do it any justice.
But it's got a useful shop where you can spend money to link moves. So in your moves menu, you can set it so that when you choose to use one move, it will actually then use another move as well, which is very cool. And honestly, I kind of think something that they could incorporate as like a mechanic into the main games in a very interesting way.
It is interesting.
Where it's like, do 2 moves for the price of 1.
It would speed up gameplay too.
So like I connected my growl to scratch so that when I
did that too.
When I attacked with growl, it would lower the defense and then scratch them.
Growl lowers attack.
Whichever one lowers defense. I don't remember, but
Leer.
It was cool.
Oh, you had Leer.
And it worked and I liked it. It's like a neat mechanic. Linking moves.
That part is good.
That would be so cool to incorporate into the regular games. Like the amount of like weird like meta gaming that happens. Like it would be cool to like do a whatever and then a whatever. Like you were trying to do that shit with me last week where it's like sunny day and then blank.
Solar beam.
You know?
Yeah.
Imagine doing that as one move. It would be fucking devastating.
Yeah. It would be cool to have like a limited amount of ability slots to like pull that off.
Yeah. Maybe you do it once per battle, you know, like double move.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a free idea for you. Pokemon Company, Game Freak. So then after you've done all the exploring of Pokemon Square and then you've formed a mystery team, a dungeon rescue team. I had a few words from the title to choose from there and I chose wrong 3 times in a row. But you choose a rescue team with your partner and you go diving into Thunderwave Cave because you've heard that there are 2 Magnemites here who have attempted to combine into a Magneton, but failed because they didn't have a 3rd Magneton. So now you need to go save them and separate them.
Yeah.
This dungeon is the 2nd dungeon, and it's 6 levels deep, so twice as long as the last one. Still very easy. There's no final boss. There's no nothing. Like, you just go and you do it.
I died in here 3 times for some reason.
Josh, this is the easy one. It's still like a tutorial level.
This is what taught me my lesson. I was hardened after this, but I don't even remember why. I mean, I think I didn't know that you could use the specific move. And like, once I figured out that I could make Charmander use Ember, then it was a cakewalk because it's like Ember all these fucking Magnemites and shit.
Yeah, and then at the end, you learn about acquiring new Pokemon to your team, which is one of the main mechanics of the game. So Magnemite joins your team. I now have a Magnemite on my team. Its name is Andrea because...
Oh, Andrea's canon.
Andrea's canon. So they refer to themselves as friends a lot. Like there's the friends areas and they're joining your teams as friends and you go visit your friends. So I've decided to name all of my Pokemon after real life friends of mine.
That's cute.
And Andrea is a friend of mine and Josh's. So I acquired Andrea the Magnemite.
That's fun.
Did you get Magnemite?
I acquired Merendithos, the Magnemite.
Fantasy name. Dungeon.
It's like a wizard.
Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons name.
Got it.
I actually love the Magnemite. I think it's pretty fucking good.
It is cool.
The Thundershock does like 20-something damage. It's got, every time it levels up, it gets like 5 hit points.
Yeah, I like the Magnemite a lot too. I have one other Pokemon that I acquired later.
Oh.
I guess I'll just say it. It's John, my Geodude.
Oh.
And...
Our friend John.
Our friend John, yeah.
Who's canon in this podcast as well.
John Geodude isn't very useful, and I'm not bringing him on a lot of expeditions. Mostly what he does is mud sport inappropriately at bad times. Like, I'll just be...
That is not useful in this game.
I'll be walking along, and all of a sudden, like, my progress will be halted because John starts doing mud sport for no reason. And it's like, bud, stop. And he'll just keep doing it. He'll do it like 8 times.
That's just like John in real life.
It's like, just stop doing mud sport. You're, like, gearing up for a fight that's not happening. So I bring Andrea on a lot more missions than I bring John on.
I always bring Miranda thus.
So then once we're done with Thunderwave Cave, it's on to the next mission. There's a thing between missions where you can go to Pelipper Post Office and look at the bulletin board and get like submissions, side quests.
Yeah.
Where like you go back to a mission, back to a dungeon you've already been in and can like go and rescue a new Pokemon or go and like bring an item to a Pokemon or go and like escort a Pokemon to a place within the cavern, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like good for leveling, I guess, but like...
And it raises up your rank, which is the other thing that you have to pay attention to, because there are like roving rescue teams and they're all like competitive. You meet them. We're about to meet one. And the rank confers something. So the more like side quests you do, you also get like points to your rank.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Rank check?
Rank check. It's our new segment for this interstitial.
What's your rank?
My rank is not very good.
Uh-oh.
I don't like this game, and I don't like playing it, and I don't enjoy it. So...
Well, I don't either.
I'm playing it as little as possible, and my rank is 110 points.
Pathetic.
Bronze rank.
Sad.
Yeah. What's yours?
I mean, I've gotten killed a bunch of times, and I still have bronze rank 135 points.
I feel like you've probably done a few more of those side quests than I have.
Well, I had to, because after I lost all of my shit, I'm like rebuilding my entire like repertoire. So I've had to do a bunch of like stupid escort missions, which is what got me killed in the first place.
I can't fucking stomach them. I just think they're so boring.
Everything looks the same. You don't even like...
It's a bad game, but
it's very... Can I talk about how hard it is to catch Pokemon?
Yeah.
Like, what's the mechanic here? I want something else. I want something else to get me through Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team.
It's a bad game.
The next place you go is Mount Steel.
Yeah.
And you get hit up by a Dugtrio that causes an earthquake at your house and wakes you up when you're sleeping.
Yep.
And the Dugtrio's like, hey, my kid, Diglett, got snatched away by a Skarmory. And the Skarmory flew away to the aptly named Mount Steel.
Yep.
And in this place, there are Aarons. There are Metachams. There's Metatites. There's...
Yep.
Geodudes. So you got John here, presumably.
Yep.
I caught an Aaron, which I think is just randomly triggered. Your main team leader, so in my case, Charmander.
Well, you have to have his habitat.
I did have his habitat.
Okay.
My team leader, Charmander, fainted him, and then he wanted to join my team.
Yep.
And then in the dungeon, he got killed.
He's a sub.
Because you can't control him. He just, like, wandered off to, like, the end of the group, and then a fucking, like, Tyrogue or some shit like kicked him.
You can control him.
And he died.
You didn't control him. You can control him.
No, I did. I told him to stay near my group, and he still got picked off by a Tyrogue.
Yeah.
And his name was Adolamine Aaron. R.I.P. Never made it out of the fucking dungeon.
Yeah.
So I only have 3. And they were all handed to me.
That's the mechanic is you need to, when you recruit, I lost a couple of Shroomishes this way.
God, I wanted an Aaron so badly.
When one of these like subs asked, when you dominate them and they ask to join your team because they're like simps, you're like, sure.
Jesus Christ. Let's not get too red pill in here.
So they join your team, but they have to survive the encounter. They have to get to the end of the gym.
And they're a weakling.
And they're usually a weakling, yeah. So
it was level 6, and it just got picked off.
Yeah.
Did you figure this out? Is it just totally random?
It seems completely random.
As long as your team leader is the one that faints it?
Yeah.
There's no way to trigger it? God, I hate this fucking game.
It's a bad game.
Okay. So yeah, you gotta rescue a Diglett, and it's at the top of this Mount Steel.
Yeah, so this is one of the dungeons where you go up. So you go up, and
it's 9 floors.
This is like the first gym that's a real challenge. It's 9 floors, and the Pokemon are a lot harder.
It's a nightmare.
And it ends with a boss fight, which I think from here on out, Joshua, this is what we're facing. At the end of every dungeon, there's a boss fight.
Yeah.
And this boss fight was Skarmory, who was challenging. I had Magnemite with me and Pikachu, so they both just did a bunch of like electric moves.
Yeah. Did they kill it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was still like a challenge, but yeah, I feel like they did a pretty good job against it.
I did die at some point in this fucking thing. I mean, obviously the Aaron as well.
Yeah.
But Skarmory I killed because I had Ember. So it was super effective.
And then you rescue Diglett, and there's a whole bunch of back and forth about whether or not Diglett has legs, which is very confusing.
A really weird scene. The Diglett is like over a chasm.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, we don't know how to get it.
The Magnemite comes up.
The Magnemites come up, and they float over, and they pick it up.
They pick it up, and then the screen blanks before you can see it come up. And then when the screen comes back up, it's like, did you see its feet?
It's very meta.
And it's like, why? It's like a 3-minute dialogue sequence where they're just talking about the Diglett's feet. It's like, shut up, pervert.
The Diglett goes, my feet feel like they're still walking on air. And then everyone is like, feet? Like, what do you mean feet?
I read it as creepier, like, oh, feet?
Well, everyone is interested, and they're interested in different ways about the feet.
Yeah.
You don't get a clear picture of these. It's funny in one way that it's like, okay, so Pokemon Company realizes it's absurd with the Diglett situation.
Yeah.
But we don't get an answer other than that, you know, the rescue team is, of course, fetishists.
Yeah. So then
it asks you to sleep after every mission.
Always sleep. Yep. You wake up the next morning, you go into Pokemon Square. It turns out you're just one of many rescue teams. And there's a rescue team who's just in it for the money, and they're led by Shiftry.
The Shiftry and Nuzleafs.
So, like, there's a Jumpluff, and the Jumpluff is like, help, one of my fellow Jumpluffs got caught in a tree, and I need a Pokemon rescue team to come help them. And Shiftry is like, my Pokemon team will help you for the right price. And then the Noble Good Pokemon team, which is Charizard, Tyranitar, and Alakazam, comes, and they're like,
I don't know what their name was.
Shiftry, you're being bad. You need to be good and helpful. And they're like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And they like slink off. And then watching from the trees is a 4th Pokemon rescue team, which is the Meanies.
Just Team Meanie.
Which is Gengar, Ekans, and Medicham, except it's like a shiny Medicham.
Yeah, I think so.
And they're bad. And they just want to...
They're very bad.
They just want world domination.
They somehow are using, like, being a rescue team as a means for world domination, and it's pretty unclear how that would happen.
Everyone they rescue is compelled to join their team. So that leads to the next dungeon, which is Sinister Woods.
Caterpie, a different Caterpie, or maybe it's the same one, who fucking knows, shows up at your house.
And they're like, now my son, Metapod, has gone missing.
No, it's the friend. The Metapod's the friend of the Caterpie, and they were playing in the woods.
Oh, okay.
How could a Caterpie's son be a Metapod?
I don't know.
Oh god!
So
this is probably where the fur affinity community
the story
really
in
took
this
off.
game is so bad.
Like, it's fucked up.
So this Caterpie approaches you, and they're like, "My friend Metapie got lost in the Sinister Woods."
Metapod.
What did I say?
Metapie.
My friend Metapod got lost in the Sinister Woods while we were playing. Can you go and help him?
Yeah. And
Team Meanies has been listening, and Team Meanies is like, we're going to beat you to it, and we're going to go find Metapod, and we're going to rescue it before you, and Caterpie's going to need to give us a big reward, and Metapod's going to need to join our team.
Yeah, they're trying to extort this Caterpie.
So you go into Sinister Woods, which is the worst dungeon so far. Fuck this fucking dungeon. I hate it. It was 13 levels deep, which is like such a long dungeon.
They all look the same and it sucks. God.
The first time I didn't bring any apples because I was being an idiot and I died from hunger.
Oh, I bought some big apples. You died from hunger?
And I had to go out and like load up and then go back down.
That's the one thing I haven't died from.
And then there's shroomishes everywhere and they just keep poisoning you. So you have to have like a shitload of picaberries on you too.
The Kecleon shop doesn't always have the same items. So you can't be like, oh, like I know I'm going into the woods and I'm going to need a bunch of like poison cures. You show up, they might have just Oran berries and fucking apples.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It sucks. And then so here's the thing that happened to me in Sinister Woods is I got all the way down to the 13th level, the final level of the thing, and I was a cutscene. And I'm just about to rescue Metapod, and then the meanies attack. And the meanies are like, let's fight. And it's like, okay, fine. And it's the three of them facing off against the three of us, which was Meowth, Pikachu, and Magnemite. I took one step forward and took a swing at Gengar, and Gengar immediately put me to sleep. And then Gengar, Ekans, and Metachamp all teamed up on me and killed me in 4 moves. Jesus. They just like wailed on me until I was dead. And then I blacked out and woke up and you go outside and Pikachu's like, well, we really fucked that up. But it's a new day. Let's go try again. And I had to do the whole fucking dungeon over again. From the very beginning. Level 1.
Yeah. Sinister Woods sucks.
So I started the whole fucking thing over again and did the whole thing over again and then got down there and was like, I'm not fucking facing these assholes, and just ran away from the fight and let Pikachu and Magnemite do all the fighting. I like flanked them. I like came around the back and like started wailing on Ekans from the back.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some maneuvering and strategy to it. I mean, of course, I died at some point in this fucking thing, but I did, once I made it to the top, or the bottom, or whatever, I did kill them on my first try. I did the double blast seed, because you start off like
a few tiles away. Yeah.
Proper, like, 19th century combat style. And then I just flung 2 blast seeds at them, and so they already took, like, heavy hits, and then we mopped them.
Yeah, I mean, the second fight went fine, but like that first fight, it was just like Gengar immediately put me to sleep. And then all 3 of them were just like, okay, well, this asshole's asleep. Let's just all attack him. God, it sucked. And I hate this game. And it's such a bad game.
I feel broken. I feel like a broken man by this
But
game.
we're going to keep playing. We're going to keep playing for you, bug catchers.
We're professionals.
We're going to play through the main story of this game, which is the first 14 dungeons. So
we revised it because we can't live like this.
We did 4 dungeons today. We're going to do 4 next week. We're going to do 3 the following week and 3 the week after that. But don't play this game. Don't play along.
If it's not too late, just don't. Cancel your eBay order. Like,
just listen to us play it and listen to us be miserable for the next 4 weeks. We promise it won't be like sad miserable. We promise it'll be fun miserable. But like,
yeah, I'm having a laugh in my misery.
This game is really, really weird and not fun. But we're gonna get through it, and this will be the interstitial, and then we'll get back to Fire Red and Leaf Green. Yeah. So. That was the first 4 dungeons of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team.
Wow.
Next week, Joshua, we will be facing off the next 4 dungeons, starting with Silent Chasm.
Oh my god.
And ending with Lapis Cave, in case you, for some reason, bug catchers are deciding to play along.
Good luck.
God bless you. Joshua.
Arceus, bless you.
Arceus, bless you. Joshua, my name this week has been Chicory-tan, a.k.a. Tanner Greenring. Your name has been Machosh, a.k.a. Joshua Fialstad. This has been Experience Share Pokemon Podcast. Please rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts. It actually is very important that you do that. I know we say it every week.
We could use some new reviews and 5-star ratings.
We could use some positive reviews and ratings. It really does help us rise through the ranks of the Apple Podcast algorithm.
We're close to breaking 200 reviews.
Pretty good.
That sounds fun. Yeah.
Follow us wherever you follow podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever, Pocket Casts, all that kind of stuff.
Overcast.
We're not
going to name all of them.
And
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at expsharepod. Check out the subreddit, reddit.com/r/bugcatchers.
And if you want a sticker, shoot us a DM with your address.
We probably still got some, yeah.
Probably still got some. Joshua, goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye, and smell you later.